Created on July 31st of last season, made his major league debut on August 21st, and finished 2015 following a convincing 8-start audition. 1/7 of the Hamels to Texas trade, competed and proved to his coaches and the Phillies front office that he deserved serious consideration for the 2016 rotation. The 25-year-old gets that opportunity today against the National League champs. It's a change of scenery for the Phillies after losing 3 in Cincinnati. They cross over to New York to take on the Mets here at Citi Field. A little easier trek for the Phillies fans to come up and watch their ball club. It's the first of a 3-game series between the Phils and the New York Mets. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Matt Stairs. All right, so last year the Phillies were 1-8 here at Citi Field. They're hoping to turn that tide beginning today, and they'll give the baseball to Jared Eickhoff. One thing that they've said about Jared Eickhoff from last year into the offseason to the start of this season, they love his demeanor out on the mound.
Well, he has tremendous demeanor on the mound, but what I really like is that he works down the zone with his fastball, curveball, slider, and he's been working on a changeup. Last year in Atlanta, one of his better games he threw. Every pitch he threw, the curveball right here, down the zone where he needs to. Very nice 2-strike pitch. Spotting the fastball inside, and a very nice pitch, 2 strikes. But being able to keep the ball down, you get a lot of ground balls, you get a lot of different swings. You can elevate at times when you need to get strikeouts, but he's freezing hitters. You can see the swing right there. He has a really good bite on his curveball, and that's what I was like. And you can see the numbers right here. 8 starts in his career, 3-3. The number that jumps out to me is the opponent average at 212 with 49 strikeouts. Tremendous job keeping the ball down and keeping the ball in the ballpark.
Last 4 starts, his earned run average was under 1 last year in 2015. So we asked him about what he needed to improve on in the offseason.
The biggest thing is just looking back, at the success I had and to, kind of pick apart that a little bit and see what could I have done a little better. And that's was one of the things, just looking back, and, I could hold runners a little better. I could, get my pickoff move a little better, a little sharper, work on my changeup more. So those were the 3 biggest things that I kind of took kind of going into the offseason. I had a good changeup kind of in the offseason, developing it with a couple guys back home, always trying to bounce it off their grips. A couple guys back home had good changeups. They're playing professional baseball with other organizations. Still, I was able to bounce information off them, and I had a good feel for it until the thumb thing came along. But I'm looking to find that again.
During Bob McClure's exit interview with Jared Eickhoff and Aaron Nola, he said, "I need you to work on the changeup," so he certainly did. That's who he's opposed by today, Jacob deGrom, who 2 years ago won the National League Rookie of the Year. He is part of what has turned out to be a stellar staff for the New York Mets, and we'll talk about that staff, which helped lead to the National League pennant. Yep, they celebrated a lot last year here in New York. They celebrated yesterday, and now we kick off the 2016 home season here at Citi Field. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. Buy Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota. Toyota's hybrid fleet is nothing short of a home run. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. The rest of his starting lineup out along the third base line prior to the start of today's ball game between the Phillies and the New York Mets. Phillies are wearing the sweatshirts because it is a cool day, and it's going to be a cool day for the pitchers out there, kind of getting the feel of the baseball. We saw Jared Eickhoff last year have to get used to the curveball a little bit more. For Jacob deGrom, well, this will be the third year in a Mets uniform. This is kind of old hat for him, and it's kind of old hat for a lot of the Mets young pitchers as they continue to evolve.
Well, it is, and these guys, you talk about a very young, talented pitching staff. 3 guys averaging over 95 miles an hour with the fastball with deGrom, with Harvey, and as well as with Sandoval. But you know, these guys, you can see the graphic: 13-8, 14-8, 9-7, 4-0, 14-13. But they're all power pitchers. You know, Colon is a guy who's probably the smartest pitcher of them all. He knows how to use his fastball in and out, and he knows how to elevate, whatever. But you know, I really like the young arms. I really like the power arms that's really needed when you need a guy to go deep into games.
In fact, Bartolo Colon was kind of on hold today, and there was a chance he was going to start today. If Jacob deGrom's wife went into labor, he would fly back to Florida. Instead, Colon will start tomorrow, and Matt Harvey will start on Sunday for the New York Mets. Well, it's the home opener for the Mets, so the festivities, the NYPD helicopter unit providing the flyover for this afternoon's game. We'll get to lineups and first pitch between the Phils and the Mets when we return. I should say the coaches have exchanged the lineup cards for this afternoon's ball game. Pete Mackanin taking a look at the iPad, which he and Larry Bowa are utilizing like everybody is in Major League Baseball. Terry Collins has a less than .500 record as a Major League manager and as the manager of the New York Mets, but he was able to reach the World Series a season ago, and that gave him a 2-year contract extension this past November. Let's take a look at Pete Mackanin's starting lineup for today's ball game, brought to you by Xfinity. The Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Freddie Galvis leads it off at shortstop, then Cesar Hernandez and Odubel Herrera. Ryan Howard, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Andres Blanco is over at third. Maikel Franco is fine, but Pete Mackanin wanted to give him a day after getting hit by the pitch yesterday. Cedric Hunter's in right field, batting sixth in the bottom third of Rupp, Burris, and Eickhoff. And they will face the 27-year-old right-hander from Ormond Beach, Florida, and Stetson University, and that is Jacob deGrom. 14 wins a season ago, 23 wins in his big league career, which included 9 during his rookie campaign that led to the National League Rookie of the Year award.
Well, a very good arm, a very talented arm, a very powerful arm. You can see 61.9% fastball last year. He's a 4-pitch pitcher. The averages on his fastball, 95 miles an hour. The opponents are hitting 220. Now, one thing about the Philadelphia Phillies need to learn is that with 2 strikes, he loves to elevate the fastball. That's why last year he led the league with 76 high elevated fastballs.
Well, it's time now for our Nissan keys to today's ball game.
Well, key number 1, and especially versus deGrom, he loves the fastball, so be ready for the first pitch heater. Number 2, be better with runners in scoring position. So far, the 3 games in Cincinnati, the team was 1 for 19.
Well, they raised the National League banner, the National League pennant, just a few minutes ago. And that's the replica to your left right there. So Jacob deGrom is waiting for Freddie Galvis to walk to the plate to start things off for this afternoon's game. Freddie was 3 for 12 in the series against the Cincinnati Reds, coming off a season in which he had .263 with 7 home runs and 50 runs batted in. Steve Cannon is still trying to find that right mix for the top of the order. The first pitch of the day, fastball upstairs, and we're underway. It's 1-0. Now the velocity for deGrom is something that we'll keep an eye on, because for a lot of the Mets young pitchers, velocity was down during spring training. Chopper foul. It's 1-1. The only reason we bring that up, he's still throwing 92 or 93 miles an hour, but Matt mentioned 95 or better and those high fastballs. Sometimes 92 with those high fastballs is a little easier to catch up than 95 or 96.
Absolutely.
Galvis fouls it back, so it's 1-2.
And you got to remember as well, as they went to the World Series last year. So a lot of pitchers are pitching later in the season. Their arms tired. They haven't bounced back properly yet.
Boy, that's a good point. We used to hear that with Cole Hamels an awful lot after the Phillies would go deep into the postseason. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Freddie Galvis. And Freddie lofts it out toward left field. It's not deep. Conforto will make the catch. What away. Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Frank Petrash of Hatboro, Pennsylvania. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. The big Frank will win $100. Phillies have had a home run in each game so far. That hasn't been the problem. They have 5 home runs in 3 games. The fact that they've scored just 10 runs in 3 games, that's part of the issue. Ryan Howard has one of those home runs. And Matt mentioned it. The most glaring statistic from the 3-game series against the Reds offensively, 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position. And Cesar Hernandez is aboard with a 1-out single here in the first. So Cesar with his 3rd hit in this opening week. And that'll bring Odubel Herrera to the plate. Boy, Pete was very honest today talking about Odubel Herrera. Odubel, who has struggled so far to start the season, 1 for 11. And has struggled also defensively. He already has 2 errors. Pete said he's just got to get used to the cold weather.
Frio.
Yeah, that's
El
it.
Frio.
Yeah. He agreed with what you were saying, that his timing is off at the plate.
Which has nothing to do with being cold.
Has nothing at all to do with being cold. Coming off a year in which he hit .297 with 8 home runs and 41 runs batted in. And coming off an excellent preseason. You saw those numbers, and those numbers included a fantastic finish to his spring training games. He takes low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. By the way, if you're wondering about the Phillies against Jacob deGrom, he's 2-0 with an ERA of 3.5 in 5 games. But the last time he faced the Phils, which was on the 24th of August, he went 2 2/3. They hit 3 home runs against him, and he allowed 6 earned runs. That one's fouled back. It's 1-1. Now, whether that equates to success this time, who knows? But sometimes pitchers remember that kind of stuff. One ball and 1 strike.
Well, one thing about deGrom, he will give you a fastball to hit. He does elevate it a little bit. You made a great point. Velocity's down a little bit to 91, 92. A lot easier to get on top of a 92-mile-an-hour heater than a 95-mile-an-hour heater.
Yeah, and what we're showing you as far as the velocity goes, as you watch the last swing by Odubel.
It's going in it's like going in stations right now. It's not all one fluid swing. It's like the foot's down, then the hands are going, and then the shoulders dropping a little bit. He needs to get back into that rhythm. Now he's getting closer, and that's the reason why he's missing a lot of balls. He's fouling them off not necessarily straight back, more towards the on-deck circle, towards the third base side, is because the barrel is just dropping just a hair. But he is getting closer. The key is not to get frustrated because you're missing those pitches that you should be crushing.
1 ball and 1 strike to him. Swing and a miss. That's one of those pitches right there.
That's a ball right down the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's center cut that should be hit hard. And that's the biggest thing is when you, with his leg kick, we saw it last year, he made the adjustment. He didn't go as so dramatic with his front foot out. You see the foot's down just a little bit late, which causes him to pull off, and his head moves off.
Yeah, plus one of his hands just was flying right off that bat. Hernandez goes, pitch is taken outside, throw to second base is in time. It was an excellent pitch to throw on. It almost looked like Hernandez spun his wheels just a little bit at first base, and that gave d'Arnaud a chance to throw a strike.
Well, you said it's a great pitch to throw on. It's a fastball up and away, and it's a throw right on the money. You see the jump he had. Not a bad jump.
No.
Perfect throw, though.
So now 2 outs. 2-2 to Herrera, and he pulls it toward first. Duda's got it. Flips to DeGrom covering, and the side is retired. For the Phils, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We'll head to the middle of the first. It's the Phillies nothing, and the Mets coming up. Collins' team began the year in Kansas City. Now the home opener here at Citi Field. Let's take a look at the Mets lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. The Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience television. Granderson right at Cespedes, followed by Duda, Neil Walker, and Michael Conforto, as Drupal Cabrera will bat 7th, Travis d'Arnaud 8th, and Jacob deGrom will bat 9th. And they'll face Phillies right-hander Jared Eichhoff. Eichhoff, 25 years old, out of Evansville, Indiana. And last year, when he came over from the Rangers, spent some time in the minor leagues with the Phillies, and then eventually made it up and put together a 3-3 season.
You know, he threw the ball very well last year, and I was very impressed. I mentioned in the open, keeping the ball down in the zone, and I'm looking forward to today's matchup with how he's going to throw the changeup. You can see the scouting report, 58.1% fastball last season. Now he averages 91 on his heater, and the league was hitting 243. And in 2015 versus the Mets, he was 1-2 with a 2.70 ERA.
Yeah, on the 1st of October against the Mets, he went 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, no runs. And he struck out 10. Here's Curtis Granderson to lead things off. 1 for 8 in the series against the Royals. First pitch is a little high, and it's 1-0. Granderson was the leadoff batter last year, despite struggling at the end getting on base. He did walk a lot, though. He had 91 walks last season. One ball, 1 strike. To the right side, Ryan Howard is there, and Eichhoff's there to cover.
You know, you mentioned that he had 91 walks last year. I'd rather see him hit in the middle of the order. I mean, he's got tremendous power. He showed it the last few years Now you're hitting in the leadoff spot. You take the aggressive swing out of a guy where you want him to take pitches. And his job is, the leadoff guy's job is to see as many pitches that you can see, so you can see the velocity of the pitcher, the way his ball's moving, and what kind of off-speed pitches he has.
Yeah, he's not the kind of guy that will generally take a lot of pitches. No. He wants to be aggressive. David Wright is the hitter. Wright 1 for 7 so far. He has walked a handful of times. So his on-base percentage is right at .400 to begin the season, as Eichhoff delivers a little low, 1-0.
That's why we always used to joke with the guys that lead off the game and they'd swing at the first pitch. And as they come back to the bench, you go, hey, what's he got? Well, he's got a fastball. Well, yeah, we see that. What else?
Outside 2-0. Both pitchers are allowed to warm their hands on the mounds. Temperatures are in the 40s here to start this ball game. They expected the temperature to be in the 50s, but there's no sun, so that's why it's dropped. And Wright hits it out toward right center field. Odubel's on the run. He's not going to get it. It's going to one-hop the wall. And David Wright will pull him to second base with a one-out double.
Good hitters count 2-0. Very nice swing. Ball out over the plate, and that's David Wright's path of a strong swing right there. I thought Odubel might have a chance, but the ball continued to slice away from him to center field and get to the gap.
Before the Mets moved over here to Citi Field, Shea Stadium, the gaps, particularly right center field, was a lot more shallow than it is here. And David Wright used to thrive on hitting the ball out of the ballpark to that area. So Wright's at second base. Mets fans who come out and watch opening day here in New York think that he is hitting 1,000 on opening day. He's got a hit in every opener since '05. And that's incredible to think about that.
That it is.
Cespedes takes a strike. It's 0-1. Cespedes last year with the Mets hit .287 with 17 home runs. His combined numbers were 35 homers and over 100 RBIs. Swing and a miss. Ball had some nice cut on it at the end, and it's 0-2.
That's a great location. You see where camera set up away. If he hits that ball, one is going to spin just a weak fly ball to right field, and you're going to get the bumblebees in the fingers.
Which you don't want on a day like this.
No.
There's the curve ball blocked nicely by Rupp. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Eichhoff last year when he came up, his slider was his best breaking pitch. We had heard all about his curveball, but the slider was the best one. And then he found the curveball again, and we had heard from the scouting report standpoint that his curve was his second best pitch, and it sure was as the season moved on. Still ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cespedes. And he hung a curveball there.
Well, he had a better slider early when he first got called up. He was having a hard time getting the grip of a Major League Baseball because the seams are a little bigger. So he was having a hard time having that grip, so he went to the slider, and we thought, are they crazy? I mean, this slider's unhittable. But I understand why, though. His curveball is almost a 12-6 and drops off the table.
Well, he's thrown a couple curveballs to Cespedes. Let's see what he decides to go with here with Wright at second base. A fastball just a bit outside. 2-2. Eichhoff with great demeanor out on the mound. And that says a lot for a kid who's 25 years old. Drafted out of high school, didn't sign, went to junior college for 2 years in Illinois, and then was drafted by the Texas Rangers. Phillies, of course, acquired him in the Cole Hamels trade last year. They got a bushel of prospects for Hamels. That'll be foul and a souvenir for somebody. Curve is spinning a little bit in this first inning.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the curveball right to Cespedes. I mean, that's a backup curveball. And we saw Cespedes get basically very late on a fastball low and away. And Cespedes is kind of in that pull mood right now. He wants to pull everything.
Well, the Phillies do play him to pull both on the infield and the outfield. Burris is over toward the line and left. Foul down the right field line. 92 on that fastball.
See, that's a great location right there. You know, even though that the infielders and the outfielders are shading him to pull, now you pitch him away and make him try to pull that fastball away. And again, if he hits that ball in fair territory, it's either going to be a bleeder down the right field corner for a base hit or a weak fly ball to right field. Something that he's not going to be able to drive. Use this ballpark. It's huge to right field.
Throws another breaking ball that's just fouled on the third base line. Ron Culpa is the third base umpire. Paul Nart is the home plate umpire. Chris Conroy's at first. Jerry Meals is at second base, and Culpa's over at third. I didn't recognize Ron Culpa with the gray facial hair. Matt, we're all getting older.
And colder.
Older and colder. This will be the 9th pitch of this at bat. Cespedes has fouled 4 off, and as Matt said, of the 4 he's fouled off, 3 have been pull shots down the left field line.
Off curveballs. I'd like to see a nice slider right here. Now they're going no signs. Nice slider.
Boy, that's a good breaking pitch. You sort of throw that when he's thinking curveball with the spin coming in. Strikeout number 1 for Eichhoff.
Well, I like the fact the camera went out, told him what he wanted him to throw. Hasn't seen that pitch yet, and a very nice slider. Very nice.
So 1 out. The cam is directing the traffic of the infielders. They're going to send Blanco out in shallow right field for Lucas Duda. Duda, 27 home runs last year, 73 runs batted in. So his last 2 years, 30 home runs and 27 home runs. And they play him, the Phillies do, the way teams play Ryan Howard. And they got the third baseman Blanco really deep in right field. Eichhoff's got to be careful. He stepped off demonstratively.
Yeah, and in this situation, you do have the big shift on them. Your outfielders are playing so deep. David Wright still runs pretty good. Base hit, he's going to score. He really is. So leave him alone at second base. If he wants to get a big lead and steal third base, so be it. But I'd rather just see you play your position, not worry about him at second base, because the base hit's going to score him.
Well, and if he does try to steal, I would think that Galvis is just going to let him go, because Galvis is so far off the third base line.
Absolutely. I would agree.
Fastball upstairs, 1-0 to Lucas Duda. You see the alignment with Freddie Galvis. Shaded toward the hole at shortstop and shallow. Two balls and no strikes. Talked about Eichhoff working on that changeup. He's got a lefty up here. You might see it more here than you will against the right-handers. Tied him up. Did he go? No, says Ron Culpa. Part of the reason why Eichhoff was given the assignment from Bob McClure to work on the changeup was to try to get lefties out, because the changeup will fade away from the left-handed hitters.
Right, and left-handers will gear up for a fastball. If you throw them a changeup and you're out in front of it, you hit a weak ground ball to the right side.
See how snaps that ball back from Cameron Rupp. I mean, that's what we talk about as far as his demeanor goes. I mean, it's hard to assess when you're scouting kids sometimes how they're going to act in the big leagues, but Jared Eichhoff, he is a competitor.
He is.
Outside off the glove of Rupp, ball 4. So that'll put runners on first and second. This week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest growing LTE network. Neil Walker will be the batter over for the Pirates organization. The Mets have an abundance of pitching in their system. They still do. So last year they felt like with Daniel Murphy electing to go to free agency, and they elected not to sign him, they needed a second baseman. So they traded Jonathan Neese for Neil Walker. Walker, I don't want to say he priced himself out in Pittsburgh, but they were trying to cut a little payroll. They had Josh Harrison. They wanted to play him at second, so they traded him for Jonathan Neese. And a fastball swung on and missed. It's 0-1.
I like how you say he priced himself out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
that means he played very, very well in Pittsburgh. Right. Shame on you, Walker.
They were talking about his defense, how they wanted to tighten up defense at second base. I actually thought he played a pretty good second base from a distance.
I've always liked him as a player.
A switch hitter.
Now playing in PNC Park, it's a little shallower to right field, being a left-handed hitter. But I agree. I thought his defense was very good at second base.
So far 2 for 8 on the season. He's got a home run, 3 RBIs. No balls, 2 strikes. Inside, 1-2. All right, so 10 balls, 13 strikes, 23 pitches, and some deep counts so far for Eichhoff.
It didn't help that Cespedes saw 10 pitches.
Well, yeah, the foul balls that he was picking up.
Great time for a changeup right here. Following a fastball up and in.
Throws a breaking ball. He tried to backdoor that curve, and it misses outside, 2-2.
Now, when you throw a fastball inside, there's 2 things you can do. You can try to throw another fastball inside for a strike, because basically the 0-2 pitch is a purpose pitch. You're trying to get him off the plate. Now all of a sudden you can back in with a fastball for a strike, or pull the string and try to get him out in front, because he might be thinking of a fastball inside.
Breaking ball and a called strike 3. He backs up curveballs and picks up his second strikeout of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 2 men left, including Wright in scoring position. Well, we said the curveball was the second best pitch, and man, did he throw a dandy to wrap up the bottom of the first. On to the second here at Citi Field. Moore's opening day at Citizens Bank Park this Monday, 3:05 first pitch against the San Diego Padres. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. All fans will receive the commemorative opening day cap. We'll start the second. Ryan Howard will be the batter. Howard 3 for 9 so far with a home run, 2 RBIs. Overshipped on against Howard. And there's a strike. It's 0-1. All right, so who got the loudest round of boos? Was it Carlos Ruiz, Ryan Howard, or Kevin Camasholi?
Camasholi did.
Phillies video coach.
Yeah, video coach.
He was booed pretty good. Howard was expecting it. Carlos was expecting it. I don't think we were expecting Kevin to get booed the way he did.
You see the look too when he got booed? He was like, huh, really? You know me? I should know. He's the best guy in the league.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Howard. Swing and a miss. There's the high fastball Matt talked about earlier. How his percentage is so high getting strikeouts against that high fastball. One away. Andres Blanco's coming up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Well, it is hard to kind of measure the impact that one player can have on a baseball team, but when you look at the New York Mets a year ago, there was one guy that really seemed to have a significant impact, and I'm talking about Yoenis Cespedes, who arrived on July 31st, and when he arrived, the Mets, they had just finished the month of July 13-12 in that month. They were 3 games over 500, sitting in second place behind the Nationals, but then they went on a tear. You look at the month of August, 20-8 in the month of August, 15 games over 500 when that was said and done. Add in September at 16-11, and they were off and running. They took over first place midway through August, and they never looked back, and we know what happened after that. Cespedes was a huge impact for this team, and they hope that he can do it again. He signed a 3-year deal, guys.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why they decided to sign him. And he was out there for a long time as a free agent. But you see how they closed. Slow chopper left side. Charging is Cabrera, and just in time to get Andres Blanco. 6-3 on the putout, 2 away. Now Cespedes did not perform as well in the postseason, and his defensive lapses, you know, they are somewhat concerning from time to time. But the fact that they have him in center field shows the importance of his offense, because he's not really a center fielder anymore.
No, he's not. And one thing he does, he has a tremendous arm. And also, you can see that he had the blue glove.
Yeah.
He didn't have that opening day. Opening day in Kansas City had a brand new one. The first ball hit to him.
Dropped it.
He dropped it. So he changed his glove. But I honestly believe when they brought Cespedes in to this lineup, it just put everyone else in an area where you, okay, this is where you're going to hit from now on. You don't have to worry about hitting 3rd or 6th or 7th. You're going to be an everyday 3-hitter. You're going to be an everyday 4-hitter. And guys just got comfortable. It shouldn't happen that way. You shouldn't think you'd feel uncomfortable. I hated hitting 3rd. Despised it.
0-2 pitch to Hunter. High fastball laid off. It's 1-2.
Because a lot of people think your 3rd hitter is your best hitter. I wanted to be a guy where I was in the 4, 5, 6 hole, thinking that I could be able to hit some home runs and be a power guy.
See his numbers last year with the Mets. The splits between August and September. .44 runs batted in 2 months of action. 44 runs batted in 54 games. Crazy slugging percentage. A 1 hopper to Darno, and it's 2-2.
So Murph, does Cedric have the ball yet?
Cedric does not have the baseball yet. The home run that he hit yesterday, his 2nd major league hit, his 1st major league home run. I talked to him a little bit about that today. Still waiting on it. Now, Frank Koppenbarger has the baseball. He's going to get it.
There's a diving stop by Cabrera to his feet, throws to first, not in time, and Cedric with an infield hit. Might as well just keep that baseball too. Then he has 2 of the 3.
Opening day knock.
Yeah. We know how important it is to have an opening day hits.
Nice play right here. Cabrera getting up, the veteran he is, and makes a very nice play, very close play, but just another knock for Cedric.
Mickey Morandini did not this time. He wasn't as keen to get that baseball as he was in Cincinnati yesterday. So Cedric takes his lead. Cameron Rupp is the batter. Rupp 1 for 4 so far. Just challenged him with a fastball. I don't think Cedric's going to be going anywhere, although I think Pete does want to be more aggressive on the base paths. You know, because the team is struggling with runners in scoring position, 1 for 19. They were aggressive in spring training.
Well, and they do want to be aggressive, but DeGrom's pretty quick to home, plus he has an above-average fastball. Even though he does have the bigger leg kick, it's not a slow leg kick.
Well, and d'Arnaud, if there's a criticism on d'Arnaud, it's not throwing, it's calling the game and just catching the ball.
Right.
No balls and 2 strikes to Cameron Rupp. Here to the top of the second. I thought Cameron was going to call time as that bag rolled right past his leg, but he struck out. The side is retired. No runs, 1 infield hit for Cedric Hunter. Phillies leave 1. We've played 1.5 here at Citi Field. The Bob is flipping over to Comcast Sportsnet, and Sportsnet Central is flipping over to TCN. So take a look as they celebrated their 1-year anniversary this past week. They had Jay Wright on earlier today. Of course, the parade honoring Villanova's national championship is rolling through Philadelphia as we speak. We go to the bottom of the second inning here at Citi Field. Michael Conforto will lead it off. Conforto, who was the Mets' first-round pick in 2014, fouls the first pitch back. He was the DH in the 2 games against the Royals, playing left field here. And that kind of changes the Mets lineup in the outfield. Lagares then sits, and he's a guy off the bench. He's a good young player right here, though. Curveball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good young player because he knows how to hit the ball to every part of the field. Drives the ball to the left, good pull power. Not a lot of movement in this setup when he hits. Some guys have the leg kick. He just kind of sees the ball and reacts. Has a good separation with his hands and his front foot.
Boy, Jared is just missing with some of these pitches. 3 balls and 1 strike. Little overshift on with Conforto. They don't put Hernandez that deep in right field. That one's blooped down the left field line. It'll be foul. And it's 3-2. To the direction of the hits for Conforto.
Those 13 balls hit the left field are probably line drives. Doesn't hit the ball a lot on the ground to left field, which isn't a bad thing for a left-handed hitter.
Eichhoff tried to sneak a fastball toward the outer edge. If you watch the open of today's game, Jared talked about the changeup, which he worked on during the offseason. Bob McClure said today, he said, you know, I sat down with Aaron Nola and I sat down with Eichhoff, and that was what I told them I wanted them to improve on in the offseason. As Conforto gets out of the way of that. Boy, they say it hit him. So that will not go down as a walk. It goes down as a hit by pitch. And a leadoff batter for Asdrubal Cabrera. I asked Bob about the changeup. I said, well, what did you try to tell him to do? He said, well, what I wanted him to do is I wanted the changeup to have the same arm action as his fastball. He said it just didn't have it last year. He said, plus I wanted it to be slower than it was last year. He said his changeup there was a difference miles per hour between fastball and changeup, but I wanted it to be even slower. So faster arm, slower pitch. And he said what he got back from Eichhoff when he came to spring this year was close to what he wanted. He said, but way more spin than he expected from his changeup. And I said, well, is that okay? He said it was great. He said, because I feel like the more spin you have with the changeup, the better. If you're somebody like Jared Eichhoff.
See, I guess you'd have to be a pitching coach to notice the spin.
So as a hitter, you wouldn't really notice it.
No, you would.
1 ball and no strikes to Cabrera. And he fouls it off to the left and out of play. 1-1.
Or maybe you were supposed to notice it, because that was probably the hardest pitch for me to hit.
I guess that's what I was wondering. You know, I sat there and said, oh, okay. And my thought was, if you're a hitter, are you looking for more spin? Are you looking for less spin? You know, is there something that jumps out with a changeup that'll cause you to say, oh, no, that's a fastball. Wait a minute. Nope, it's a changeup. And Cabrera bunts it toward third, and it's going to roll foul.
Nice play. Smart play.
So Blanco lets it go. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Asdrubal Cabrera.
Knowing that he has no opportunity right here, decides to let it go. That's probably something in batting practice today as well. Probably had balls that were thrown down the line to see how the ball was going to roll. Just kind of interested to see that why did he play that far off of third base with Cabrera, who is a veteran and he has bunted in the past.
Breaking ball, and it's a little in tight. 2-2. This is not as broad a strike zone as what we saw the last 3 days in Cincinnati. I mean, the pitches are out of the zone, but Paul Nart, the home plate umpire, is not as freewheeling as what we saw in Cincinnati. Rupp thought the runner was going. I think he heard he's going. It may have been Ryan Howard that yelled he was going. And Cameron was shielded by Cabrera, so he fired through. Whoop, he was going.
But he tripped.
And then he thought he was going to throw behind him. Now he goes. Pitch is slapped foul down the left field line.
Be nice to see Eichhoff hold a little longer here. Conforto wants to run so bad, he's edging off first base. Just hold him a little longer.
He goes again. The pitch is grounded back to the box. Eichhoff with a nice throw, and it's dropped by Galvis. It'll be a fielder's choice. It's going to have to be an E6. First error of the year for Freddie Galvis. Freddie could sense that the runner was coming in on him, and I think he was just trying to get out of the way and just dropped it. I mean, there's no other excuse.
Well, Eichhoff does a very nice play right here. The old PFP, pitcher's fielding practice, gave him a perfect throw.
Perfect throw.
But that was the fact that Freddie was almost, I'm not sure if he was worried he was going to get taken out at second base or not. Just ended up dropping it.
Now, it may not have been a double play, but it would at least been the lead runner at second base.
At least it would have been an out.
Now Travis d'Arnaud 0 for 6 so far. Outside 1-0. Boy, he just dropped it. There's
the thumb.
There's just nothing else you can say, but he just dropped it.
You don't see that very often from Freddie Galvis.
Two and 0. Now, the reason I said that you probably weren't going to turn two, because the way he grabbed that baseball, it didn't look like he was going to be in position to make a throw over to first. Now, Cabrera does not have the fastest wheels. Three balls and no strikes. 4 3-ball counts for Jared. Former Phillies prospect hit the Phillies well last year, 381. Right-handers last year against Eichhoff, right-handers were 1 for 28 against him. Mets right-handed hitters. The only hit by a right-hander last year for the Mets.
Don't say it.
Ball 4 was Bartolo Colon. That is walk number 2 for Eichhoff. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, Pete Macadam is pacing in the dugout. He knows that this inning should not look like this. But Jared is facing a bases loaded situation with nobody out, and Jacob deGrom, the pitcher, is up at the plate. deGrom hit 186 last year. Well, you've got to concede the run to try to get some outs here. Now the corners are in, so they're coming home if there's a ground ball to them, but the middle infielders are back. They're looking to turn 2. I guess it's in tight. Chopper right side. Hernandez will have 1 play. That's to first. A run scores. An RBI for deGrom. 1-0 New York. So deGrom gets the RBI. It's an unearned run.
Not a bad swing, putting the ball in play, and a lot of good things happen. Got the RBI, plus he hit the ball to the right side, which allowed now second, third with 1 out.
Curtis Granderson grounded out his first time up. Pops that one up. Freddie Galvis sprinting over. Blanco says he has it. He'll call for it, make the catch, and there are 2 outs. That was a really good pitch. So the runners do not advance, and now David Wright will be the hitter. Well,
came back a little bit.
Yeah, it did come back more than I thought.
But the movement will happen. That it moved. He was set up inside. The ball moved back towards the middle of the plate, but it still has some late movement on it.
David Wright had a double his first time up. That was the slider from Jared Eichhoff.
Eichhoff has faced 11 hitters so far. That's the only 5th time for a first pitch strike. That's why you see the numbers up to 47 right now.
That's why you have 4 3-ball counts too.
Pitching behind.
Good play by Cameron to block that pitch. It evens the count up, 1 ball and 1 strike. Looks like Cameron, the first couple of pitches, setting up toward the outer edge because both were breaking balls. Got to be careful with that with David Wright, though. We saw it his first time up. He'll go out and get it and punch it the other way.
Very good point. Very good point. Have to pitch him in.
Two and 1. Next pitch will be number 25 for Eichhoff in this inning. Curveball pulled toward third, taken on a hop by Andres Blanco. Side is retired. The Mets, though, do score an unearned run on the ground out by Jacob deGrom. We'll go to the third, and deGrom has a 1-0 lead to work with here at Citi Field. Start the fans trivia question. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, the question is, what team did Yoenis Cespedes win a Gold Glove with last season? I have to admit, I was kind of shocked by this. I mean, nothing against him. He does have a brilliant arm. One nothing, New York on top, so they get an unearned run without the help of a base hit in the bottom of the second. And deGrom has the RBI on the ground out. And he'll face Emmanuel Burris, Jared Eichhoff, and Freddie Galvis. 8-9-1. Fastball in there, 0-1. This has kind of been a house of horrors for the Phillies. At least it was last year. They won just 1 game here at Citi Field. They were 1-8. Overall 5-14. As Burris lines one right at Cabrera. One away. here are the numbers last year between these two squads. Mets won 14 of the 19 games. Look at the run differential. The Mets scored 111 to 76.
Well, wasn't it that one game in Philly last year where they hit a ton of home runs in that series? Like 10 or 11?
Yeah. There were some one-sided victories last year. Jarrett 2 for 14 last season. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Fastball and a called strike 3. Third strikeout for DeGrom. Phillies fans, next time you want to grab Phillies seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by best value. We take the price and location of seats and show you which tickets at StubHub give you the best deal. So get the StubHub app today. Breaking ball to Freddie Galvis. Freddie flied out to left field his only time up. Outside. Do you have a thought, Matt, on who you think will eventually become the Phillies leadoff hitter? We've seen Hernandez, we've seen Freddie. Do you think it's going to be Odubel eventually again?
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, it really is. Depends if Odubel starts swinging the bat well, move him back up front. I like Cesar Hernandez leading off.
I think the thought of Odubel batting lower in the lineup is because, you know, Pete Mackanin's trying to protect Maikel Franco, and, you know, from day to day, you know, he's got Ryan Howard, but he's trying to piece together protection for all of those guys in the middle of the order.
You know, everyone talks about, you know, who's going to protect Maikel Franco, or over the years, Ryan Howard. It's the guys in front of them, really. If you get on base, they have to pitch to the big hitters.
Right. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Galvis, trying to get on here in the third. And Freddie waves at a high fastball. 4 strikeouts for DeGrom. And he sets the Phillies down in order here in the top half of the third. Brought to you by Jefferson. Call 1-800-JEFF-NOW or visit jefferson.edu. And by your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit delvalhondadealers.com. 1-0 Mets on top. We go to the bottom of the third. Kudos, by the way, to our crew here in New York, getting us rolling and on the air here today. Yesterday, Maikel Franco hit by a pitch in the elbow, and today had a wrap on that arm. He said he's sore, but he's okay. And the thought is that he will be able to pinch hit if the Phillies need him and probably be in the lineup tomorrow if there is a game tomorrow. Cespedes takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Yeah, Eichhoff is not missing by much with that fastball.
Yeah, these first 2 pitches are just off the edge.
A lot of times you can notice the way the catcher frames it and holds it there for a second, trying to give the umpire a better look at where the location is.
Boy, he was taking a chance there that Cespedes was taking 2-0 because that was a pretty good pitch to hit.
I think Cespedes is sitting on curveball every pitch right here.
Popped it up. Ryan Howard is under it, makes the catch, and there's 1 away. Why would he be sitting curveball, you think?
Well, I think his first at bat, he saw 3 or 4 curveballs, had good swings at them. Now all of a sudden he gets a fastball away. He doesn't even flinch like he's going to swing. He's looking for that little hump on the curveball. Second pitch fastball, third pitch fastball right down the middle. Then all of a sudden he gets the curveball down the middle and he pops it up.
You know who would be upset about that approach? Just based on our conversation the other day. Big Jim. Jim Thome would be upset about that approach.
Oh, absolutely.
You didn't even finish the statement about sitting fastball, and he was talking about it. Lucas Duda walked his first time up, and a foul ball. It's 0-1.
Nice changeup right there. Starting off Duda. Changeup. You can see the awkward check swing he had. That might be the first changeup today.
I think it is, because I've been looking at the miles per hour, and I haven't seen it dip.
There's a fastball. Oh, I'm way out in front. Changeup. Nice pitch. Good pitch. Get him off the plate.
Out front, shallow center field. And Odubel says he has it. So he threw 2 changeups in this at bat to Lucas Duda, and you can see the effect of that changeup. You know, you go from 91 to 84 with it, but it kind of looks the same.
Well, and it's tremendous by falling with a fastball inside. Now all of a sudden you have to think about, okay, maybe he's going to double up and fastball inside. He's pitching inside, and you can see the tremendous changeup out in front, weak fly ball to center field. Good sequence of pitches right there.
Bob said today, Bob McClure, and I tend to agree with this, is that next to a well-located fastball, the next best pitch for any pitcher, as Blanco will give this a look over toward the dugout, and he makes the catch. The next best pitch is a changeup, and we saw that changeup in this inning for Jared Eichhoff. He works a 1-2-3 frame, and man, did he need it. We'll go to the 4th with the Phillies trailing it 1-0. Jet printers deliver unmatched quality, and their Jet Intelligent Toner cartridges print up to 1/3 more pages. Get yours from who? But WB Mason today and experience the difference. Nobody beats WB on HP. 1-0 Mets on top. We go to the top of the 4th inning. You see the Mets have just one hit. They scored their run without a base hit. It's an unearned run. Cesar Hernandez will lead it off for the Phils. It'll be Hernandez, Herrera, and Howard. Cesar shows bunt. He singled his first time up, so he's 1 for 1. Thrown out trying to steal. That one's off the hands, blooped out toward left. Cabrera on the run, and here comes Conforto to make the catch. Well, it just hung up there too long, and Conforto was able to track it down.
That's the first fastball that Cesar has seen today. First at bat, he saw a couple off-speed pitches, change-up, breaking ball. The base hit up the middle was on a breaking ball. You get an account of, it's like almost like a panic mode sometimes when you see a fastball to hit. Might not be in an area where you want to drive the ball. That pitch was inside. He got jammed. It's okay to take that pitch and go ahead and wait for the next one.
And a bunt up the third base line. It's a dandy, barehanded by Wright, who throws to first just in time to get Herrera. It was an excellent bunt, but it was an even better play by David Wright. And there are 2 outs here in the 4th inning.
It was a great play by David Wright. The bunt might have been a little hard.
Yeah, maybe a little too hard.
A
You're
little
right.
too far away from the line, but still, on a cold day coming in, barehanding that ball and making a strong throw to first.
Yeah, you're a third baseman. You have to make that play.
That's a great exchange too. You can see him turn the ball in his hand to get the four-seam fastball, the four-seam throw to first.
Well, 2 away. Ryan Howard struck out his first time up. 1 of 4 strikeouts for DeGrom. And Howard grounds it foul. Ryan commit to this ball game 3 for 9 with a home run and 2 RBIs.
Ryan really has to concentrate on facing DeGrom, of getting that fastball down in the zone, because Ryan's such a good low ball hitter. A lot of times you'll see hitters, they'll pull their helmets down a little farther to lower their vision of where the pitch is coming from. I don't know if it ever works or not, but I mean, I think mentally it helps out quite a bit.
Well, and this game is so much mental. So even if there's a little advantage that you get.
I guess it makes sense. So you pull that helmet down, all of a sudden you tilt your head down a little bit and you're looking for a fastball down the zone.
That one is ripped into shallow right field. It's a shame. He hit it right on the nose. And it turns out to be a 4-3 putout. And the side is retired. Just an 8-pitch 4th inning for Jacob deGrom. We go to the middle of the 4th here in New York. Is brought to you by McDonald's. Come into McDonald's for an Egg McMuffin and medium iced coffee for $3.49. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Here at the bottom of the fourth inning, the Phillies trail at 1-0. Phillies have a couple hits. The Mets have just one hit. Well, today's ball game is also available in Spanish, although we're going to have to give Bill and Angel a hard time. Their windows are closed. What is up with that?
Está frío.
I guess it is frio. Nice to see those guys. We haven't seen them this year. They've been broadcasting back home. But you can just use the SAP button on your television and change the language to the menu on your cable box. As Conforto fouls this one over the third base dugout, it's 0-1. Scott and Larry have the windows open, I believe. Larry's all bundled up as if there's a blizzard coming.
Larry said, sorry, Tom. Larry said they had the windows closed earlier and the air conditioner on. He was freezing in the booth. He came in here shivering.
You know what he needs? He needs these heaters that we have here in the booth. Bob Anderson, who's our stage manager, has told everybody that he's celebrating his 30th anniversary as being a stage manager here in New York, and that some time ago he purchased, quote unquote, purchased the heaters up here in the booth. We're not buying it, but we appreciate it.
30 years, congratulations. 22 of them really good.
3 balls and 1 strike to Conforto. Chops that one off his leg. Our buddy Mike, our high home camera here, he's all bundled up. He knows he's a veteran. If we asked him to get the heaters, he would get them for us. Put him on the back of his bike and ride him over here. Three-2 pitch for Mykoff. Curveball. Boy, that was a good pitch. Against a left-hander, too. He snapped it off.
Shows you the respect as well that you give to the hitters, knowing that you're a very good fastball hitter.
Towering fly ball to right. Plenty of room out there for Cedric Hunter to roam around. And he makes the catch. So 1 away. And here is Asdrubal Cabrera coming to the plate.
That curveball not as good as the one before.
Fortunately, he had him just out in front a little bit. One of the sets of statistics that I think really set Eichhoff aside last year was the whiff percentage that he had. As that one's hit back off his leg, and it's going to roll into shallow left field. Blanco tells Hernandez to cover second. So that'll be the second hit for the Mets today. In the minor leagues, Eichhoff had a whiff percentage of 19%. See this one come off his leg. Actually, he may have raised the glove first. Yeah. So now Travis d'Arnaud is the batter. So 19% of the batters that he faced, he struck out in the minor leagues. That's a pretty good number. So he increased that total to nearly 25% in the big leagues. It's remarkable that he was able to increase that number. It's one of those that if you ask him or ask Bob McClure, you know, it's all about location.
Right.
But it's one of those that you can't really explain.
Adding and subtracting. Being able to throw your fastball at 92, 91, 88, getting movement, location of the curveball, having a very good slider.
On the infield, Freddie Galvis, sunglasses on. The sun has just popped out. makes the catch. 2 outs. The 16th annual Teacher Appreciation Night at Citizens Bank Park will be Friday, May 13th. It's a 7:05 first pitch. Nominate a teacher now. Go to Phillies.com/teachers for more information. DeGrom breaks his bat. Slow roller to short. Galvis flips underhand to Hernandez covering. So a very comfortable inning for Eichhoff, who seems to have settled in. He still has allowed just 2 hits through 4. Now let's see if the Phil's offense can get something rolling when we get back. Coming up at 5, Michael Barkan has a lot to talk about. A full recap of this ball game, the Flyers playoff race, and Villanova's championship parade. Watch Philly Sports Talk, presented by Comcast Business, tonight at 5 on Comcast Sportsnet. It was rather entertaining last night. We were in the hotel, all in separate rooms. Ben was back in Philadelphia picking up his car at the garage, explaining to all of us. You were watching the Flyers game on your computer.
Yep.
We did not have it on our respective computers, but Ben was explaining to us, along with your help, what was happening with the Flyers heading into overtime and then in the overtime. As Blanco takes a strike, it's 0-1. We were trying to get Larry Anderson the login and password for our NHL.com account because he wanted to watch it. By the time we got him logged on and ready to go, they lost in overtime.
Yeah, and it was funny. Well, it wasn't really funny. I'm sitting there watching the game on the computer, and I get a text. Oh, they lost. And we're delayed a little bit in the hockey game. I'm like, well, that's no fun.
You still watched it, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Andres Blanco grounded out to short his first time up. No balls and 2 strikes to him. And he lines one back through the middle of base hit. So for the first time today, the Phillies have the leadoff batter aboard. And Cedric Hunter will be the batter.
You know, and really last night that loss by the Flyers, worst case scenario was Boston won their game.
Correct.
Beat Detroit. Now puts both of those 2 teams in 93 points. And now you have the Flyers looking in from the outside with 92, excuse me.
It's a big weekend coming up. Hunter pops it up. Cabrera's under it. One away. Cameron Rupp's coming up. DeGrom has thrown only 51 pitches with 1 out here in the 5th inning. Cameron struck out his first time up. That's listed as a changeup. That had some real weird movement on it for a changeup. I think he just missed his spot. That's why.
I think so too. Had more of a slider break.
Fastball on the outside corner. Paul Nart, the home plate umpire, hasn't always given the pitchers that pitch. It's 0-2. Same spot.
Not a strike.
5 strikeouts for DeGrom. And if anybody knows the strike zone today, at least you would think it's Cameron, and that has not been a strike all day. But
set up off the plate.
That's outside.
Ball never comes back. The glove does, but the ball doesn't. It's close, but
about to throw just his 55th pitch of the afternoon. That's pretty efficient. Burris lined out sharply to short his only time up. 0-1. There's a little bit of a cheer in the background. Not for anything special on the diamond, except for the sun. Not Kevin Kemisholi, no. The sun popped out again. You talked about Eichhoff struggling with first pitch strikes early on. DeGrom certainly hasn't. Eichhoff hasn't recently, though. That's a good thing. 1 ball, 1 strike to Emmanuel Burris. Blanco led off the inning with a single. He's at first.
I'd like to see Blanco try to steal second base. And the reason why is that if you try to steal second base, if you get thrown out while you still have your 8-hole leading off the next inning, a gap shot, you're going to score easily from first base.
Well, now definitely 1-2.
Well, and you're in a good count too. You're in an off-speed count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Get the infielders moving around a little bit, covering first base. Your job is now to put the ball in play.
He does not go, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Burris strikes out. 6 strikeouts through 5 innings for Jacob deGrom. So the Phils get a leadoff base runner with the single to Andres Blanco, but he is stranded over there. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th, 1-0 New York. 0-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning here at Citi Field. Time now for our Citizens Bank minor league reports. Well, we mentioned yesterday the minor leaguers were getting kicked off and ready to go. Lehigh Valley lost to Syracuse 5-1. Portland defeated Reading 3-1. Threshers lost to Dunedin. Mitch Walding did hit a home run, the Phillies' third base prospect. And the Blue Claws started things off with a 7-4 loss to Lexington. Citizens Bank, the next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. In that Reading ballgame, Alec Asher pitched well. He went 5 2/3. He allowed 2 earned runs. Apparently his fastball was very good in that ball game, which is a good sign. Angelis Nina, who hit the ball okay in spring training, did not defend the ball all that well at third. Had a good day for the Iron Pigs. We begin the bottom of the 5th. Curtis Granderson 0 for 2 for the Mets.
Nice.
He's got a feel for it now, doesn't he?
He does. Bouncing.
Throws the same hook. He picks up a strikeout. That's just his 2nd strikeout, but that's a nice way to start the 5th inning. Time now for our cold hard fact on a cold day. Let's go to Greg Murphy.
It is a cold day. You were right about that, Tom. Brought to you by Coors Light, clean and crisp Coors Light. And the Mets, they went 47-29 versus the NL East last season. Their 61% winning percentage was best of any team within their division, and that included 14-5 against the Fightin' Phils. In fact, they've been 47-28 over the Phils over the last 4 seasons. So they have had their way both with the NL East and with Philadelphia over the last couple of years, guys.
Think about the success the Phillies had from 07 on. It was because, in a lot of ways, because of how they played against the division.
Yep.
Phillies were 16 games under 500 against the division last year. Nationals were good against the division, as you can see. Balls and 1 strike to David Wright. Way outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pulled that slider outside. Wright doubled his first time up, grounded out to third. 1 of 2 hits for the Mets today. Scared that person behind home plate, huh?
His reaction. It's the left of the Mets. Good reaction. No, he blocked it.
He sure did. Popped up right side. Ryan Howard will cross over into foul territory and make the catch. 2 outs. I'll give this young man some credit. He was feeling his way through the first couple of innings. 28 pitches in the first, 25 in the second. But he is settled in, and he needs to get 1 more out here in the 5th inning to really settle in. You want to know why they like him? I mean, his stuff is one thing, but just really the way he battled through those first couple innings.
Yeah, especially going into the 2nd inning with bases loaded, not out, and getting out of the inning only allowing 1 run.
And it was an unearned run.
Yeah.
That ball is lined out towards center field. Odubel Herrera is there, makes the catch, and the side is retired. Well, it's a 9-pitch 5th inning for Jared Eickhoff. He sets the Mets down in order. It's his second 1-2-3 inning. We'll head to the 6th here at Citi Field. Blue Cross Philly of the week is coming off a terrific rookie campaign a season ago. Out of the Rule 5 draft and into the Phillies lineup, Odubel Herrera took the bull by the horns and swung his bat with consistency, putting himself among the major league's best rookies in average, hits, doubles, and stolen bases. He also became the first Phillies rookie to achieve 25 doubles and 14 steals since Jimmy Rollins did so 15 years ago. El Torito made a big first impression in 2015. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Phillies hope that El Torito will get up here in the top of the 6th inning. Jacob deGrom so far has struck out 6 through the first 5 innings. And he will face 9-1-2. It'll be Eichhoff, Galvis, and Hernandez, and then Herrera will bat 4th. Eichhoff takes a good hack at that first pitch and fouls it back. Mentioned the last time that deGrom pitched against the Phillies was the 24th of August. He allowed 7 runs, 6 earned, 3 home runs. Those 3 home runs are the only homers allowed by deGrom in 5 games against the Phils. Today, they've gotten an infield hit from Cedric Hunter, a line drive single to center by Cesar Hernandez, and a line drive single by Andres Blanco, but that's it. Yeah. He hasn't walked anybody either.
No, and I think you're seeing a different deGrom. He doesn't have that overpowering fastball. He is throwing a lot more off-speed pitches today. He's mixing in more sliders. It's more of a slurve, changeups. See 56% fastball.
But the fastball is topped off. Listen, 92 is nothing to sneeze about. No. But it's topped off at 92. And normally it'll be 95, 96 from him.
Well, and last year he threw 62% fastballs last year.
Outside, 3-2. So Eichhoff has forced the count back full, 3-2. Out toward right center field. Cespedes on the run. It's slicing away from him, and it's going to go to the wall. Eichhoff's going to pull into second base, and he has a leadoff double here in the 6th inning. That ball just kept on carrying out to the alley in right center.
Strong man hitting, Tom. Strong man. Very nice swing. 3-2. It's a fastball. Look at that. Nice, easy swing. Head down.
Have to admit, it looks like he's worked on his hitting this past offseason. His setup is totally different. First career double for Jared Eichhoff. Galvis, with the corners pinching in, is 0 for 2. It's got to be Button, I would think. Even though the pitcher's at second. Takes high. 1 ball, no strikes.
That was more of a turnaround for a bunt for a base hit. Now, one thing Eichhoff's got to remember is he does not have to run to third base. You know, a lot of guys get at the second base thinking, well, if he gets the bunt down, I need to take off. You read the ball on the ground.
2-0. Darnell out to talk to deGrom.
I don't mind this either. Now we got time called as the coat's coming out.
Oh no, the dreaded coat. By the way, we got the story on the coat from yesterday. Charlie Morton apparently forgot to bring his coat out onto the dugout. Fans are appreciative of the little break.
Can't believe they're booing the bat boy.
Anyway, Charlie Morton did not bring his jacket out onto the dugout yesterday, so the one they brought out was the wrong one. It didn't fit him. That's why he wasn't putting it on. Off the mound, and Cabrera makes a fantastic play. So Galvis is robbed of a hit. However, he does his job. He gets Eichhoff over to third. 6-3 on the putout. And 1 away, and the Phils have the tying run over at third base.
Well, that's a tough break right here by Freddie Galvis. Nice job hitting the ball back up the middle. But once it hit that mound, it gave Cabrera a good chance to go up and get the line, the one hopper. But like you said, did a nice job of advancing Eichhoff to third base. See Cabrera was shedding more up the middle, keeping Eichhoff close.
Infield is in for the Mets with Eichhoff at third. Hernandez taps one foul. That's actually a pretty good job of pitching there because I mean, you mentioned it before how Hernandez, he's a fastball hitter.
So as a hitter, wouldn't you think?
Well, yes, I would have thought that he was not going to give me a fastball to start. Is that what you're asking me?
Exactly. I mean, if you're a fastball hitter, then why am I going to pitch to the hitter's strength? I want to throw something off speed to get him out in front and hit a weak ground ball.
Ground ball to second base, picked up by Walker that holds the runner at third. Well, that's exactly what he did. 2 outs. This is the first opportunity the Phillies have had with runners with a runner in scoring position. 1 for 21 on the year. And here comes Odubel Herrera, and they need a big 2-out hit here. A leadoff double by the pitcher, who's over at third now with 2 outs.
That's why when you step in that batter's box, you have to have a game plan. As soon as Freddie Galvis got Eichhoff to third base, you got to start thinking, how are they going to pitch me? Just don't go up to home plate and say,
I'm just going to swing.
First pitch I see, I'm going to swing at. First strike I'm going to see it, I'm going to swing at.
Odubel's grounded out twice, once to third on a bunt. Nice play by Wright. And once to first. A change up from DeGrom. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
Now, I've been watching Herrera these last 2 pitches. Seems like he's working on his timing. This is a very good take. See how easy he is on his front foot coming down? His foot's down early, then he recognizes the pitch. That's the reason why he doesn't get out in front and take that wild swing at it. Another good take. Sometimes the best pitch to take is when you're in the take mode because you're working on things. And I mentioned it yesterday's game on a 3-0 pitch. He just stood back up and he took the pitch automatically. Now when you take pitches, it gets you in a hitting position, recognizes the pitches, your head's not moving around. I like the approach. All 4 pitches, he was taking a pitch until he got a strike. And I like that because he's working on something. Now just hopefully it pays off and you can drive a ball somewhere.
The 3-1 pitch coming from DeGrom. And he slices it the other way. That'll drop in for a base hit. Eichhoff will score. We're tied at 1. Herrera holds up at first. Well, overall, that was probably, not because he's got a base hit, but that was probably the best at-bat so far for Odubel Herrera.
No, and you can go for, listen, he had a game plan when he stepped in there. It's taking the pitches. Now he has his timing down, and his foot gets down nice and early. He's back on top of the baseball. Welcome back Herrera from last year in the spring training, what we've seen him do by hitting the line drives and not trying to pull every ball.
So that's the 5th hit now for the Phillies. They've got a batter aboard with Ryan Howard up after Eichhoff leads off the inning with a double. He comes around to score. Both pitchers have contributed to their team's run this afternoon. DeGrom's ground out scored the run for the Mets. And Eichhoff's double set up the run for the Phils.
You ever watched the A-Team before?
Yeah, Mr. T.
Yeah, they say, well, I love it when a plan comes together.
Yep, Hannibal.
There you go. He had a game plan, he followed through.
Out towards center field. Cespedes will make the catch. Side is retired, but the Phillies have tied it up after the leadoff double by Eichhoff. A couple batters later, Odubel Herrera comes through with an RBI single. Our GMC precision play of the game, and we go back to the second inning when the Mets did score an unearned run, but Eichhoff, it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, the bases loaded. DeGrom hits a weak ground ball to second base for a 4-3 put out, followed by Curtis Granderson. It's a weak fly ball to Waddy at third. Now you have a runner at third base with 2 outs. David Wright hits a weak ground ball to third base to Waddy, throws him out. So all in all, did a very nice job allowing 1 unearned run that inning.
So that is our precision play of the game, brought to you by GMC. And then Eichhoff, a few innings later, helped his own cause by leading off the inning with a double. Came around to score. So we're tied at 1, bottom of the 6th. Lucas Duda will lead it off for the Mets. It'll be Duda, Neil Walker, and Michael Conforto. Eichhoff has retired 12 of the last 13 batters that he has faced. That curveball slipped out of his hand, and it's 2-0. That one's ripped it to right field. That'll go to the wall. And Duda's on his way to second base. So he starts the 6th with a leadoff double. Only the 3rd hit of the day for the Mets. It's their 2nd double. And Neil Walker's coming up. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota's hybrid fleet is nothing short of a home run. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Buy W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And buy your local Ford stores. Along with Matt Stairs and Greg Murphy, I'm Tom McCarthy. Mets and the Phils tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Eichhoff has only allowed 2 base runners since the 2nd when the Mets scored their only run. He's gotten Walker twice, once on strikes, and the other time on a pop out to third. Ground ball foul. It's 0-1.
Remember what Jim Thome was talking about, standing close to home plate?
Uh-huh.
So Walker stands pretty close to home plate as well. Little closed stance, looking for a fastball inside. See, his toes are right on the white line that used to be there.
He's got a little different stance left-handed compared to right-handed. Does a little dancing to get out of the way of that one. It's 2-1. Phillies do have bullpen action. Hinojosa's the right-hander. And it looks like Daniel Stumpf is the lefty warming up. Back toward the middle, right between the legs of Eickhoff in the center field. Duda's around third. He'll score. Well, the Mets retake the lead. It's 2-1. An RBI single by Neil Walker. Fourth RBI of the year for Walker. Bob McClure on the phone, checking to see if both pitchers are ready to go.
Back-to-back hitters. Both times the hitters are getting in the fastball hitting count, falling behind the hitters. Noted the first time was a 2-0 fastball. That time was Walker, a 2-1 fastball up in the zone, and drives it back up the middle of the field.
Conforto has been hit by a pitch and scored. He's also flied out to right. Six pitches for Eickhoff. That one is ripped right past Ryan Howard down the right field line. Walker's not the fleetest of foot. He's going to third. He's being waved home. The throw by Hernandez to the plate is up the line. Backed up by Eickhoff. An RBI double for Conforto. It's 3-1 New York. Comes PHI AT NYN. That's going to be it for Jared Eickhoff. 3 straight hits, 2 extra base hits, and the single. And the Mets lead it by 2. Conforto with that RBI has his 3rd hit of the season. So Eickhoff's afternoon is complete. 5+ innings of work. Phillies will go to the bullpen. They trail at 3-1 here in the bottom of the 6th. Citizens Bank Fanatic Birthday will be Sunday, April 17th, when the Phillies take on the Washington Nationals, and all kids 14 and under will receive the Fanatic Flare Hair Visor. You want to get tickets for that 3-game series, in particular for the Fanatic's birthday, then go to Phillies.com. Well, with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Phillies have gone to their bullpen. Jared Eickhoff, 5+ innings so far. He's charged with 3 runs, 2 of which have been earned. He's responsible for the base runner over at third base. A couple of walks. To go along with 3 strikeouts here this afternoon. Dyer Hinojosa will be the new pitcher for the Phils. Phil's bullpen has allowed 11 earned runs and 7 1/3, so they need a good outing here, and the Phillies will bring the infield in with Conforto over at third base. As Drupal Cabrera is the batter. He takes a fastball. It's 0-1. Hinojosa coming in this spot. We mentioned before that Pete Buchanan told us that Genmar Gomez would be the closer today if the Phillies got to that point. Check swing on a split, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Actually, that may have been the slider. Good play by Rupp.
Interesting to see how the defense is lined up. No one on, they plan to pull. 3 guys on the right side and 1 on the left side.
Broke his bat to the right side. Howard and Cesar are there. Cesar makes the catch in foul territory. That is what you call some firewood right there. Travis d'Arnaud is now up.
It's a good pitch. Oh, there goes the old firewood.
That's kindling is what that is. Alejandro Diaz has come out of the on-deck circle. He'll be the pinch hitter for DeGrom. Jim Henderson, the former closer for the Brewers, who's throwing in the 90s right now, in the high 90s, working on the bullpen for the Mets. As d'Arnaud takes way inside, 1-0. There's Stumpf. Daniel Stumpf kind of needs to get back out there after yesterday. A couple tough pitches.
He needs to get out there just so he can get an ERA.
Well, that too.
To get back on the bump, and like you said, he made a couple of pretty good quality pitches yesterday. Didn't go his way, and unfortunately, grand slam was hit off him. Nice play, Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron's done a nice job behind the plate with a lot of these pitches in the dirt. But it's a hitter's count now for d'Arnaud. It's 3 balls and 1 strike.
I believe d'Arnaud just said something to him by a nice play.
Line drive caught by Hernandez. 2 outs. And Diaz will be the batter. Let's see what Pete does here. If he keeps Hinojosa in or if he's going to bring Stumpf in. He's already walking up the stairs. So he's going to bring the lefty in.
Nice job by Hinojosa getting 2 outs. One with some kindling and the other one with a rocket to second base.
Well, Pete said, he goes, we got to figure this bullpen out. He goes, I'm not gonna not use pitchers. He goes, I got to use them because we have to figure it out. So Hinojosa is done. Stumpf is coming in. Runner at third. 2 runs have scored for the New York Mets. Time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. All right, Matt, here we go. What team did Yoenis Cespedes win a Gold Glove with last season? All right, so you got a 50-50 chance on this one.
Detroit Tigers.
Detroit Tigers is correct. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. People all around baseball are probably seeing the gold label on his glove. And after the last couple of years, they're thinking, really? Well, my assumption is that has something to do with Coca-Cola, but I'm not totally sure.
Nobody, they left that guy hanging, wouldn't give him the knuckles. He's probably the warmest guy here.
Probably the warmest guy here.
Followed by Mr. Met.
Here's Daniel Stumpf, who made his major league debut yesterday, did not get an out. And he's going to try to get a big out here. Yesterday, he allowed 3 runs, 1 hit, 2 walks. Looked like he was going to get out of his situation without allowing a run to his line. But the home plate umpire did not concur with the pitch that Daniel threw.
Pete had a conversation with him yesterday talking about his slider. He says, you know, it just looked like you're a little too fired up with your fastball. He goes, that's the problem. I wasn't. He says, I was fine on the mound. He's like, really? You can't lie to me? Like,
you couldn't say, yeah, I was really fired up.
No, Coach, that's where, or Skip, that's where I want to throw those fastballs.
Well, Wilmer Flores has been announced as the pinch hitter for the Mets. Runner at third, 2 runs are in. And Flores out front of that slider. Actually, that was a changeup.
Good changeup.
And it's 0-1. Looked up and saw the velocity and realized that that was not his slider. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball jumped right in there for a strike. It's 1-2. Wilmer Flores, who will play a little shortstop, maybe a little third base for the Mets. Hector Neris in the bullpen. James Russell's up as well. The 1-2 pitch. Outside. 2-2. Reaches out, pokes it off the first base bag. Howard gives it a look, and it's out of play. Once that ball got up in the air, there was no chance it was going to stay fair. I mean, the wind has really picked up from left to right. Wouldn't know it up here, though, because we have Bob's heaters going. Conforto leads off third. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a line drive to center field. Here comes Odubel, and he makes the catch. And the side is retired. I don't know. From our vantage point, it almost looked like that ball was going to jump and go over his head. But he had it all the way. Nice job by Stumpf. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda Dealers game summary. The Phillies trail at 3-1 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. And just to summarize, it is kind of chilly out there. As you can see, the fans bundled up. Both starting pitchers worked into the 6th. In fact, DeGrom worked 6 full. He allowed 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, didn't walk anybody. Jared Eichhoff, 2 earned runs in 5+ innings. Cedric Hunter, Andres Blanco have singles today. Odubel Herrera has the RBI for the Phils. And it was Neil Walker's RBI single that was then followed by the RBI double by Michael Conforto that gave the Mets the lead. So now Jim Henderson, after a 2-year absence, is back in the big leagues. He had a couple strikeouts the other day against the Kansas City Royals. Last time he appeared in the big leagues before the other day was May of 2014.
Well, you talked about it earlier, Tom, about his velocity back in the 90s. It's actually between 93 and 96. Basically a 2-pitch pitcher, which relievers usually do. Fastball and a slider.
I bet you the former closer for the Milwaukee Brewers, Henderson, had shoulder surgery. That's what cost him the last 2 years in the big leagues. And Blanco hooks it foul down the right field line. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Phillies down by 2. They did get a base hit with a runner in scoring position in the 6th inning. Only 2 hits this season so far with runners in scoring position. We got some more wrappers, Matt, blowing all over the place. Swing and a miss. 95 on that sinker. And 1 away here in the 7th. And Cedric Hunter is coming up to the plate. Watch this pitch from Henderson.
Good location. Almost looked like Andres Blanco was sitting on an off-speed pitch the way he swung at it.
Cedric swung at the first pitch his last time up and popped out. He's 1 for 2.
Borderline strike right there.
Oh, and 2. It's remarkable to come back from the shoulder surgery that he had to be able to throw in the mid-90s. Jerry Blevins warming up in the pen. Oh, 2 pitch. Chopper up the first base line. It's a fair ball. Duda's got it. And there are 2 outs. Cameron Rupp is due up. And it's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. It is time for the Major League Notebook, and the Chicago Cubs are a lot of people's preseason pick to make their way to the World Series this year, but they're going to have to stay healthy. And last night they lost one of their big guns. Kyle Schwarber collided with Dexter Fowler in the outfield and sprained his ankle last night. Now, x-rays were negative, but they don't know the severity of the injury as of yet. He is going to have an MRI today. And news in New York, Zach Wheeler, who is in the ballpark today, was part of the ring ceremony yesterday with the New York Mets, but still recovering from Tommy John surgery, is going to need another minor surgery to remove a suture knot that is not dissolved in his pitching elbow. Now, the team says it is not a major procedure. They're going to do it under local anesthetic, and it should not put him back on his timetable any more than he already is. He's due back sometime around July. That's what they're hoping, and they don't think this is going to affect that. But he is going to have to go through that procedure to get that taken care of before he's able to get back there on the mound, guys.
Well, it's nice that they have Bartolo Colon, who could be the 5th starter, so they don't have to rush Wheeler. I mean, they have plenty of time to get him healthy.
Yeah.
If anybody saw that collision last night with Schwarber and Dexter Fowler, he was carted off the field. As Rupp swings through the 1-1 pitch, it's 1-2.
That was an ugly collision.
It was ugly. Murph's talking about the MRI. And all morning long we're sitting there thinking, boy, I didn't realize the ankle was that bad. Well, now they're saying that they're worried about the left knee.
Yeah.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Rupp. And Henderson strikes out 2 in the inning. It's a 1-2-3 top half of the 7th inning. Well, God Bless America here at Citi Field will be performed by New York Police Department officer Micaiah Brown. She is heading out toward home plate. So with that, here is God Bless America at Citi Field in New York City. Customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest growing LTE network. Bottom of the 7th inning. Phillies trail at 3-1. Peter Borges takes over in right field for the Phillies. And the new pitcher is left-hander James Russell. So Borges will most likely bat 9th. We haven't been given confirmation of that yet, because the pitcher spot is due up 2nd in the top of the 8th inning. Daniel Stump is credited with a 1/3 of an inning and nothing across. He got the only batter that he needed to get. There's Hector Neris warming up in the bullpen. Russell will face Curtis Granderson, David Wright, and Cespedes here in the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th. The difference right now. Granderson is 0 for 3. He's grounded out, popped out to 3rd, and struck out swinging his last time up. Good pitch to start him off. It's 0-1.
Nice job by Hinojosa and Stump to get the last 3 outs to the last inning and stop the bleeding.
0-2. To the right side. Cesar's up with it. I love listening to Cameron Rupp yelling it. Every time there's a ball to the right side, he screams out, "Over!"
He says it especially loud after he does not get a hit.
Yeah.
Like it's frustration get over.
He's taking it out over the explanation. Addison Reed warming up in the pen for the Mets. He was a good pickup last year from the Arizona Diamondbacks. David Wright is 1 for 3. Doubled his first time up, grounded out to third, and popped out to Ryan Howard in foul territory. He has 8 career at bats against James Russell. All right, so we wondered privately about DeGrom being lifted from this game after 6 once they took the lead. I wondered, well, maybe his wife went into labor. He's got to head to Florida. But apparently he has a tight right lat, and they took him out as precaution. 2-0 pitch to David Wright. Outside. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. Detroit leads the Yankees 4-0. That game's in the top of the 8th inning. Miguel Cabrera 2 for 4, a home run and 2 RBIs for the Tigers.
They got 12 hits, only 4 runs.
Swing and a miss. Yankees have just 2 hits. Jordan Zimmerman has gone 7 innings for the Tigers, 2 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. And Wright fouls it over the first base dugout. Victor Martinez, by the way, is playing today, so he doesn't have to worry about coming off the bench. He's the DH this afternoon for the Tigers.
Break my record in 1 year.
Ball 4. David Wright draws a walk, so he's aboard with 1 out. And Cespedes is coming up. Well, it's time now for a Hyundai defensive play of the game. Speaking of David Wright, this was a fantastic play on a bunt by Odubel.
Yeah, he came back in the 4th inning. Nice bunt. Even better play by David Wright, coming in full speed, making a very strong throw to Duda at first base. That is your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
So he's at first base. He has 4 walks so far this year. Now Cespedes is up. Cespedes is 0 for 3. A calling card over to first base.
You do have to keep an eye on David Wright. He's a very smart base stealer. Just not sure if he's going to steal in the cold weather with his back.
Yeah, he's trying to answer some of those questions about his bad back. He has swiped a couple of bags already this year. What they called spinal stenosis limited him to just 38 games last season. Cespedes slices it foul. It's quickly 0-2.
And I say he's a very smart base stealer, because he picks up the typical move of a left-hander very quickly. Like, he knew Cole Hamels inside and out what he was going to do. First base slide step, big leg kick.
More than 200 stolen bases by the time his career is over with, just 5 away from that mark.
For a guy that has average speed.
Runner goes. Pitch is lined out towards short, over the head of Galvis into left center field. Wright will continue on to third. Now the Mets have first and third with 1 out here in the 7th. All right, let's see what Pete Mackanin does here.
He had a great jump. Cespedes hits an off-speed pitch just over Freddie Galvis's head. Now you got first and third with 1 out.
Yeah, Duda was sort of walking slowly to the plate. Pete's not going to make a change because he's got the lefty already out there. So he's going to keep the lefty in. And nobody is warming up in the bullpen anymore. Well, this is a tough spot. Duda has hung in there against left-handers. At least last year he did. Thank goodness that was called a strike. That was a late call by Paul Nart. Ball was dropped by Cameron Rupp. It's 0-1. Phillies will try to turn 2 and get out of this inning. Give their offense a chance, down by just 2.
That did not miss by much.
Balls, 1 strike to Duda. And ball 4. And that'll load the bases up. 2 walks of the inning for Russell. And Neil Walker will be the batter. Bob McClure looks like he's about to come out. If they get Neris back up again, it won't take them long to warm up. Looks like it's going to be somebody other than Neris, though, that's up in the bullpen. David Hernandez is starting to warm up in the pen. Well, Matt, if ever Russell needed a ground ball, this is the situation.
That it is.
Time is up, so Bob McClure will have to exit the mound.
Did they ring a buzzer for that?
I think the buzzer is the umpire.
Music when I get the question wrong for Stump the Fans.
That's right.
Oh wait, we're 3 for 3.
Yeah, you are.
4 for 4.
4 for 4. You forgot a game.
Good math.
Well, here is Walker. Walker's batting average against lefties for his career. He's a switch hitter. Is 15 points lighter. He has just 6 home runs right-handed, 88 left-handed. He does not need a home run here, though. That pitch just missed low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Sounds strange. Most of his ground ball double plays, though, have come left-handed. Swing and a miss. He tied him up with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 1-1.
Wow.
I think he's a little anxious on that one. Russell will take it, though. Walker had the RBI singles last time up. He was mad at himself as he swung at that ball. Runners take their lead. Tried almost the same pitch, different spot, though. Raising that eye level. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a line drive into right field, a base hit. 1 run is in. They'll hold Cespedes at third. It's an RBI single for Walker, his 2nd ribby of the day. 4-1 New York's on top. Well, you had him buried in the count. Now Michael Conforto's the batter.
After a couple of fastballs up in the zone, throws a changeup down in the zone. Not a bad location. It is down. Nice job hitting that ball to right field, actually.
Yeah, you give him credit. I mean, he won the battle there. Conforto today has an RBI double. That was his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Hit by a pitch his first time up. Bases are loaded. No swings as Ron Culpa. Almost looked like the bat went through, even though he didn't intend it to.
Middle infielders are playing back. It's going to have to be a hard ground ball to roll double play. Porter runs pretty good.
Ground ball right side under the glove of Howard into right field. One run is in. Rounding third, heading for almost Duda. Borges' throw cut off by Galvis. 2-run single for Conforto. He has 3 RBIs today. Mets now lead it 5-1. Excuse me, 6-1. Pete McCannon's back out, and that's probably going to be it for Russell. David Hernandez has been warming up. So a pitching change here at Citi Field. David Hernandez is coming on to pitch for the Phils with the Mets on top 6-1. Mets are on top 6-1 at the bottom of the 7th inning. 1 man down, runners on first and second for New York, and it'll be David Hernandez who's coming out to pitch for the Phils, trying to get an end to this inning. David's numbers in his 2 games: 1 bad outing, 1 good outing so far.
One good outing came out his last appearance in Cincinnati, where good velocity of his fastball, had really good depth to his off-speed pitch. I honestly believe opening night he was nervous.
Yeah, he could have been. It happens. As Drupal Cabrera is 1 for 3. Popped out his last time up, singled time before. Way inside, 1 ball and no strikes.
And it's not surprising when you see players go to new organizations that want to make a an impact early, impress people. Just overthrow. And that's what he did the opening day. It was overthrow.
Two runs in the 6th inning, 3 runs here in the 7th for the Mets. Out of play, and it's even now. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bullpen action. Hansel Robles finished with his 2-game suspension, warming up to the left. Addison Reed up again to the right. It's 1-1 to Cabrera. That one's blooped out towards center field. Long run for Galvis. I think it's going to, well, he's going to make an over the shoulder grab. The way he peaked at one point, looked like the depth was more than it turned out to be, but it was a nice play for the 2nd out, and d'Arnaud's coming up. d'Arnaud is lined out, popped out, and walked.
That's a nice play right there. No panic. Made that play many, many times in baseball.
One ball, no strikes. Phillies will have 2 more chances offensively. Down by 5 right now. They got to keep it at a 5-run deficit. I mean, offense has been an issue these first few games. It wasn't an issue during spring training, but things always change when the season begins. The count is 2-0 to Travis d'Arnaud. Well, I think you're looking at his velocity, how free and easy the ball's coming out. There has to be something positive taken out of this first week, and David's increase in velocity is one of those positives. Foul ball according to Paul Nart. Count is even 2-2.
Yep.
Looked like they were on the same page, and then they kind of got off the same page.
Back in a few years ago, you'd give the fastball and you'd give the sinker or the 4-seamer. Now they put down the curveball. They want it inside, or they want to throw a backdoor curveball. Where before it was just like, throw me to my glove.
Boy, that was a pretty good spot right there. He almost got him to go after it. It looked like it tailed out of the strike zone at the last moment. Runners will be off. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runners go. Pitch is lined out to left center field. That'll be in for a base hit. Burris will cut it off, but a run is in. Conforto goes to third. First hit of the year for Travis d'Arnaud. It's a 4-run inning for the Mets. It's now 7-1. I don't know if that was Kevin Long who just said what we could overhear in the dugout. I think it was lay off the high balls, fellas, go after the low balls. As Eric Campbell will be the 9th man to bat in this inning for New York. outside, 1-0. Yesterday, there was a long 35-minute inning for the Cincinnati Reds where they batted around and sent 13 men to the plate. This is 9 men and a little more than 20 minutes in length. One ball and 1 strike to Campbell. He hits it foul. It's 1-2. All 4 of these runs are charged to the line of James Russell. He's still responsible for Conforto over third base as David Hernandez is trying to get out of this 7th inning. And a strike 3 call. So that'll wrap up the 7th inning, but the Mets score 4 runs. They use 4 hits. They leave a couple. On to the 8th. It's 7-1 New York. Brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. 7-1 New York as we go to the top of the 8th inning. The Phillies have lost their first 3 games of the season. And they have 6 outs to try to make up 6 runs here in New York. Hansel Robles will be making his 2016 debut. He was suspended for the first 2 games of the season. He was suspended because of what happened last year against the Phillies. Major League Baseball suspended him for 3 games for intentionally throwing at Cameron Rupp, quick pitching at Cameron Rupp a season ago. Cameron had his head down when the quick pitch happened, and that stirred not only both benches. Robles had to be controlled out on the mound. He appealed his suspension, which was 3 games. They brought it down to 2.
I always feel when you appeal a suspension and they don't agree with the appeal, add a couple of games on. It'll start making people think. How often do you see appeals stay the same? They always take 1 or 2 games off.
Most times you're right, they do.
Start adding.
Emmanuel Burris takes a strike. It's 0-1.
I'm sorry, Tom. And Robles has good enough stuff where he does not need to quick pitch and take advantage of guys' heads being down. He's a 3-pitch pitcher. He throws 94 to 98. He has a good arm.
Yeah, there you go. 95 on that one. Followed up what was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. It is a weapon, the quick pitch. that is used around baseball. A lot of times it is used by the Latin players. Phillies have two guys that use it. Hector Neris and Genmar Gomez both use it. Two and one. At the knees, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Burris today is 0 for 2. He's lined out and he has struck out. Playing left field here this afternoon for the Phils. Kind of an interesting conversation with Pete before the ball game today as Burris strikes out. Matt and I were in the office and we were just chatting with Pete about situations. Pete nearly played Darren Ruff in the outfield today. You know, the Phillies only have 4 outfielders in the roster. Burris is technically a utility man, so he would act as the 5th. Pete did say that he's thought about it. He thought about it during spring training and will at some point probably use Darren Ruff in the outfield. Darren obviously played left field a little bit for the Phils, played right field as well. But I think he's worried about not having his bat in the lineup, particularly when you're scoring on average in 4 games less than 3 runs per game.
Yeah.
Now this may be because it's a big outfield here, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see Darren and Ryan Howard both in the lineup at the same time, even back home at Citizens Bank Park.
And I understand that. I mean, look, the ballpark here, 358 straight away left field, 370 the gap. So it's not huge.
Not huge, no.
It used to be. But I understand he hasn't played the outfield the whole spring training either.
0-2 pitch to Borges, and that's fouled back.
You know, we always talk about, or they always talk about, they got to see what Darren Ruff can do. You know, he's 30 years old. They got to make a decision sometime of what he's going to be able to do and what his role is in the organization. If you give him an opportunity to play every day against righties and lefties, I think you're going to be very, very surprised the type of numbers he puts up. And I mean very good numbers.
Well, Darren has started just the 1 game so far and came in as a pinch hitter in the other. The count is 1-2 to Peter Borges. Borges takes outside. Pete said the other thing too is they have to get Peter going, Peter Borges. He said because they plan on him being a big part of their rotation in the outfield, and they've got to get his offense going. Three and 2.
And listen, early in this season, you try to get everyone in for a start. You know, you want to get guys in there to get 3-4 at bats. If they're bench players, at least the 3 or 4 at bats, they're going to feel good when they go to the batter's box the next 3 or 4 games because they're going to have somewhat of a timing. You know, so that's the reason why you see probably Borges sit today. You know, he's going to be back in there tomorrow. He'll probably be back in there for the next 4 or 5 games. The tough thing is that they have 4 outfielders.
Right.
You know, Goodell, you need to get him out there and see what he's capable of doing.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Borges here in the top of the 8th. And he chops that one toward third. Wright's got it. And Duda did not get the tag on him in time, so Borges is safe at first base. No argument at all from Duda. They'll score an E5. Yeah, the Phillies have a base runner, and no argument by the Mets dugout as well. So he must not have tagged him.
You know, and Ben talked about this the other day. One thing you're going to see about the Phillies is that they absolutely run the bases hard. And that play right there is a simple ground ball to David Wright, who has to hurry his throw because you're getting down the line.
Yeah, and a guy that already runs well.
Yes.
Then you add the effort into it as well.
But you see how Duda was on the replay? Did you see how Duda was blocking first base? That wouldn't be fun to run into him.
There's the 0-1 coming to Galvis. Up high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Line drive, base hit it to left center field. Conforto will cut it off. Borges is on his way to third. Now the Phillies have first and third with one out here in the 8th inning. First hit of the day for Freddie Galvis. Turkey Hill Kids opening night will be Saturday, April 16th, when the Phillies take on the Washington Nationals, all part of a 3-game series. And all kids 14 and under will receive the Kids Pullover. Again, tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com.
A great swing by Freddie Galvis. Nice to see him hit line drives to left center, right center. Stay out of the air.
Cesar takes a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Cesar today is 1 for 3. Singled his first at bat. Flied out to left, grounded out his last time up. And that one's back into center field, a base hit. A single for Cesar brings home Peter Borges. It's now a 7-2 ball game. And Terry Collins is out to the mound. He's already signaled to the pen. So another pitching change for the Mets. Phillies have tacked on a run here with Odubel Herrera due up. Let's see if they can get some more. One out, top of the 8th inning. We'll be back with a new pitcher for the New York Mets. When the Phillies play the San Diego Padres, it's the first Citizens Bank Business Person Special of the year. Tickets can be purchased right now by going to Phillies.com. Also, after the ball game, Senior Stroll the Bases will take place. In fact, the first 4 games of the season at home will be against the San Diego Padres. So get your tickets now for all 4 games by going to Phillies.com. Jerry Blevins will be the new pitcher for the New York Mets. Blevins pitched in Sunday's opener against the Royals, pitched 1 scoreless inning. And he's up with runners on first and second. Boy, how big are those 4 runs in the 7th inning now? The Phils threatening with 1 out. They've already scored a run, but they trail it by 5. As Darno blocks the first pitch, it's 1 ball and no strikes. Breaking ball and a bit low. Now that's been a ball most of the day. We've been talking about it. It looks like it's a strike when it comes across the plate. Paul Nart.
Check out the height wise. Ball down low.
Yep. Awfully close.
Off the plate.
Odubel helping the cause. It's 3-0. Paul Nart's been around for a long time. We've seen Odubel do it so often. Asking Juan Samuel about it, he said that none of the umpires really say anything to him. Some of the other players say stuff to him. 3-1.
Well, I can honestly say I don't think Odubel Herrera cares what other players say to him.
I don't think he does either.
No. And he's not doing it to show up the umpires. He's just that type of player. He's full of energy, loves the game.
He's got a hitter's count here at the count 3-1. Darren Ruff is out of the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Ryan Howard. The runners lead off first and second. Galvis off second. Hernandez off first. Well, now he might be a little unhappy about it. It's 3-2. That looked outside. I mean, fans enjoyed the fact that Odubel has to go back and get his bat.
This is where you better apologize. Darno's glove.
Definitely was belt high. I think Odubel thought it was a little outside. Looks like he was doing the cha-cha as he was going up the first baseline.
Did you see Paul look at him after he called the strike? Home plate umpire Paul wasn't very happy with that one. They always say you better swing at this pitch.
He does, and he fouls it back to the screen to stay alive. Blevins last year fractured a bone in his arm, taking a line drive off the bat of D. Gordon, and then tripped on a curb in August after coming back, starting to rehab, and refractured the arm. The Mets signed him this past off season. Three balls and two strikes to Odubel.
But watching the reactions of Odubel right there after that swing, I'm not sure if he's angry at himself for not putting the ball in play or swinging at the elevated fastball.
Well, the way he's reacted the last few games, I'm going to say he's angry at himself for not putting the ball in play.
So I'm going to say he's angry because he swung at a high pitch, but it's a good thing he did swing at it because it's a borderline strike, and you know what's going to happen. The old chainsaw is coming out.
He's going to punch him out. 3-2 pitch again. He popped it up. He should run it out. He hasn't. Now he will. David Wright comes under it, and he dropped it.
No, Freddie. Oh, that's Cesar.
Yeah, it's an infield fly rule. The batter's automatically out, and Cesar Hernandez did not realize it. He's caught in a rundown, and he's going to be tagged out. Odubel didn't run right away, but it's the infield fly rule. The umpires called it. The batter's automatically out. Cesar saw it drop, didn't realize it, took off, and he's tagged out, and the side is retired. We'll go to the bottom of the eighth. It's 7-2. Mets on top. Top here, the bottom of the 8th inning. Well, Odubel Herrera just popped one up on the third base side. David Wright could not handle it. Infield fly rule was called. See if you can see the umpire's signal. It was the third base umpire who signaled first. And there's Paul Nart signaling infield fly right there. So the batter's automatically out. Cesar Hernandez did not realize it, or just forgot the rule, and then he was caught in a rundown and eventually tagged out to finish up the top of the 8th inning. Watch it again from this side. Cesar just standing there.
And the rule is infield fly, batters out. The hitters can't advance on their own.
Runners can advance on their own.
On their own.
Yeah, on their own. Which is, I mean, it's not what Cesar was doing there.
Right. You know, and I know everyone says, hey, you got to run that ball out.
I said that, and you do.
Well, technically, he's out no matter what.
Correct.
I mean, for baseball-wise, you do have to run the base path, the ball out. I think that's what happened was when he ran to first base as hard as he did after he realized he had to run, Cesar just forgot about the rules.
Yeah. And
took off and ran into an out.
Well, Hector Neris will start the 8th inning against Curtis Granderson, and he delivers low, 1 ball and no strikes. Tyler Goodell takes over in right field. Borges moves from right field to center field. 2 balls and no strikes to Granderson.
The bottom line, Tom, is that should never happen as a base runner at first base or second.
Two balls and 1 strike. Granderson fouls it away. Shallow center field. Borges comes sprinting in, and he gets to the spot and makes the catch. So 1 away here in the 8th. Every time the Phillies retire the opposing team 1, 2, 3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. David Wright is 1 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. He doubled back in the first inning. Swing and a miss. It's 0-1. Antonio Bastardo warming up in the bullpen. A little low, 1-1. You think about the rule part of that play, and Cesar Hernandez obviously had a brain freeze on it.
Yep.
He's made some base running mistakes the last couple of years. There are so many rules. That's one of the basic ones. When the ball went up, and I didn't see Odubel run, I said he should run, but you're right, he's automatically out.
Right.
So the runners will advance on their own if they choose to. The rules were part of a topic of conversation the other day. After the Yankee game, there was a play where there was a little tapper up the first base line. Dylan Betances came off the mound. I think it was Carrera who was running up the first base line. I could be wrong with who it was, and he was on the grass. Now, my understanding of the rule was he has to stay in the base path, but the home plate umpire said that Betances, because he threw it over the first baseman's head, he's not ruled out of the base path because Betances had to hit him in the back in order for that rule to be upheld. I had never heard that before. All the games that we have done broadcast and have watched over the years, I had never heard that before, and it got a topic going after the game where some of the Yankees players were asked about it as Wright takes a strike 3 called. And Alex Rodriguez said, you know, I don't know any of the rules, to be honest with you. I mean, it was almost Donovan McNabb-like, you know, when McNabb didn't understand the overtime rule back when he was quarterbacking. Right. But there are so many rules. There are mistakes made with the rules. We make mistakes with the rules a lot of times, even though we try to understand them as best we can. That one, to me, though, is kind of a basic one, the infield fly rule.
That's a, especially if you're a middle infielder.
Especially, well, that's even a better point. Here's Cespedes. Cespedes is 1 for 4 with a run scored. Struck out, popped out, lined out.
Again, it happens in sports. And unfortunately, it is a brain freeze. But unfortunately, it comes at a time when you're down 7-2 and you've lost the first 3 games of the year.
Yeah. That's low, 2-0. It'll be interesting to just ask Mickey about it, who's in the first base coach's box. You know, what was even said as Cesar, because you saw Cesar off the bag. He started to go back. When he saw the ball drop, he took off. Yep. 2-0 pitch. Outside, 3-0. Out towards shallow center. Cesar Hernandez is under it and battling the wind makes the catch. And the inning is over. 1-2-3 go the Mets here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Last opportunity for the Phils as we go to the top of the 9th. They trail at 7-2. Ryan Howard due to lead it off. We go to the top half of the 9th inning. Time now for our WB Mason deliveries of the game. Well, this was a good ball game, but got kind of out of hand in this inning.
Yeah, came back in the 6th inning with Walker hitting a single to middle score and Duda to make it 3-1. And then from Cordova, he hits the ball down the right field corner, just out of the reach of Ryan Howard to make it 3-1. Those are your WB Mason deliveries of the game.
Antonio Bastardo is the new pitcher for the New York Mets. Bastardo, the former Phil, comes in here in the top of the 9th inning. And he's going to face Darren Ruff, who's going to pinch hit. So last year with the Pirates, 4-1, an ERA of 2.98. And he'll face Darren Ruff as we start the top of the 9th. Phillies have lost 3 straight. They trail this one 7-2. A crowd of 44,099 on hand here today. It's the largest crowd that this stadium has ever seen. As Darren takes a strike, it's 0-1. Darren lines a single into left center field, so he's aboard to start the 9th inning. And Andres Blanco will get a chance to bat. Tyler Goodell is up after him, if you're wondering about the lineup, the way it's structured at this point. Pitcher spot is not up till the number 3 hole, which is a while. Phillies still do have Maikel Franco on the bench. They've used everybody else except for Franco and Ruiz. Blanco is 1 for 3 here this afternoon. And now time is called.
Let me guess, Bastardo was a little slow.
You know, last year the Pirates had said that he had picked up the pace a little bit, at least to start the season. But then it sort of slowed down as the year went on. 0-1 to Andres Blanco. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. If the Phillies and Mets do play tomorrow, and the weather's a question for tomorrow, Franco should be back in there, according to Pete Mackanin. In fact, he was most likely available to pinch hit today if need be. After being hit by the pitch in yesterday's game against the Reds. Up high again, 2-1. Interesting to see what happens if the Phillies can get the tying run of the plate, particularly when the pitcher spot rolls around. Ruff not being held on at first, and Blanco fouls it back to the screen. Strikeout. Blanco is down. Darno hangs on, 1 away here in the 9th inning. So Tyler Goodell will be the batter. Tyler did not start this afternoon's game. He just came in last inning. Defensively, we'll get a chance to bat here. Tyler looking for his first major league hit. Takes a fastball inside, 1-0.
So I talked to Goodell the day he started. You know, Phil said he was a little nervous when he got on the bus. I said, how'd you feel? Because that wasn't too bad. I said, took about 1 or 2 outs and the butterflies went away, and I felt pretty good.
You know what's going to make him feel good is even if he just walks here and gets on base, just to get the feel of getting on the base paths. That's again have bullpen action. It looks like Jeurys Familia is starting to loosen up out there. 2-0 to Goodell. And there's a strike from Bastardo. 94 from Antonio Bastardo. Two balls, 2 strikes. Goodell is struck out. Back-to-back strikeouts now for Bastardo. After the game, stick around. Ricky Batalco will break down Jared Eichhoff's 2016 debut and everything that surrounded the 6th and 7th innings when the Mets scored 6 runs combined. Only on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Postgame Live. Cameron Rupp is the next one up for the Phillies. Cameron is 0 for 3. Has struck out 3 times today. Ruff again leads off first. He had the leadoff single. He'll take off. Pitches outside. 3 times today the Phillies have had the leadoff batter aboard. They've scored just the one time. That was in the 6th. Their other run came in the top of the 8th inning. One ball and 1 strike. Phillies are down to their final strike. A record crowd at Citi Field here on the home opener. Phillies lost 8 of 9 last year here at Citi Field, and they trail this one 7-2 in the top of the 9th inning. Ruff leads off second, and the pitch from Bastardo way outside off the glove of d'Arnaud, and Ruff will go to third. So he went to second on defensive indifference, third on the wild pitch.
Cameron right now is probably have a lot of negative thoughts going through his mind, saying I don't want to be the last out. First of all, I don't want to punch out 4 times. I need to make an adjustment right here, and the swing has been long the whole game, which I talked about in the break. Throw the barrel of the ball.
Chopper to shortstop, and Cabrera's up with it. Slings it across the diamond. Duda hangs onto the bag, and the Mets have taken game 1 of this 3-game series by a final score of 7-2. In the 9th inning for the Phils, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left over at third. Conforto and Walker had big days today. Conforto is our Chevrolet player of the game. He finished with 3 RBIs.